So I'm going to talk about pizza today, and everyone check it out, free pizza! Yeah, and that too, okay? So, just so you know, my name's Nico Westerdale, and with Roger, who's here in the front row, we run Bits du Jour, which is a daily deal site for software. So I know a whole bunch of people here in the room. I probably sold a whole bunch of your software too, or at least I hope I have. And I love coming here because it's nice to see everyone and say hi. So good to be here. And we've done thousands of promotions. We've been running 5 years now. But you probably don't really care about that. Hands up, who's here for the free pizza? All right, good. Okay, so here we go. Let me give you a hand, Roger. So help yourself. I think it works out about 2 slices each, and there's some plates coming around. There's probably the extra. And while you're eating, you can ignore this bit if you want, and you can just chow down. But I spent a lot of time in New York City, and if anyone knows New York City, there's a really good pizza restaurant in Little Italy called Ray's Pizza that started in like '59. Classic brick oven. And it was so good that people thought that they'd do it again. And they'd also call it like the famous original and original famous Ray's. Even though this isn't the original famous Ray's, actually the first one is the first slide. And everyone's down on Houston Street. This one's up in Times Square. And this one actually got closed down. They had a lawsuit with the first guys, and they got closed down because, well, there was some fighting about the name and everything. This one, there's actually one up in the Bronx as well. I did a search. There's a whole bunch of Ray's Pizza in New York City, and the guy who started it, his name actually wasn't even Ray. There's a great quote from him there. But he was a member of a really interesting family called the Lucchese family. I don't know if you know your history of New York, and there's 5 families who did some business in Little Italy. And he did some business he probably shouldn't have done out of his pizzeria and had to go somewhere for 4 years. But anyway, why am I talking about this? The point is that there's a whole bunch of Ray's Pizza, and everyone thought it was a great idea, and they branded it and marketed it, but they didn't really differentiate themselves about it. And that's, when it comes down to it, what a lot of ISVs have problems with. You're a small little company, you concentrate on doing something really well, but when it comes down to it, how do you stand out from the crowd? So, borrowing from that, what they did in the pizza market is a couple of years ago, a little company started up called Groupon, which is great. Okay, now we can actually promote our stuff on the internet. 50% off. How much is this off? I can't see. Yeah, 50% off a slice. Sounds like a great idea. And obviously, Groupon made a whole bunch of money with this business model, and decided to tone down a whole bunch of money, but then it worked out for them. They're not just the fastest internet company, they're the fastest growing company ever, not just internet. And a whole bunch of crazy headlines about it. And it's worked to a certain degree. But again, there are some problems with it. So, but this has really taken off. Obviously, you've all heard of Groupon. I don't have to tell you how it works. But if you look at the market for just Groupon and Living Social and all of those guys, they like to call themselves flash deals now. I went to the Daily Deals Summit, and they don't like the name Daily Deals anymore, so it's all flash deals. That market is just getting ridiculously big. So when it comes down to it, when you look at what customers are doing at the end of the day on the internet, then, and these are my pie charts, check it out. Right? Nice, right? So, a ridiculous number of people have gotten onto this and are getting emails from companies like Groupon now. And actually, okay, show of hands. Who here has checked their email since I've started talking? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get out. Really? Isn't that boring? And pizza? Okay, no. But at the Daily Deal Summit, I heard a quote that said the average American spends 2.5 hours a day managing email. It's just been this ultimate weight of email, because that's the way that these companies market, is through email. To look at them as a website business is kind of incorrect. That's the destination. But the way they get their message out is email. And, right, okay, I should have said it on this slide, but yeah, people are checking their email like crazy. Okay, so you saw on the crazy headlines, Groupon isn't profitable, and I'm sure you've heard some of the crazy headlines about it as well, where there was a little cake shop in England that actually went out of business because it's a real transaction. When you buy your Groupon, you get your coupon and you have to go to the place and you can redeem it. And there was a cake shop that did a huge discount on their cakes and pastries, and a ton of people showed up with lines around the corner. This has happened more than once. And they're like, okay, well, we have to fulfill this promise. And they literally put them out of business because it was way too profitable. So the problem is, what happens when you make an enormous pizza? Like, how many people are going to come? And physical venues have this massive problem. How are you going to scale your business? And your overheads. So, it's not just, we have to actually have physical overheads. There's labor involved. There's obviously the ingredients. The staff have to be ready for it. And the problem really gets used. If you look at the problem, it comes down to the per unit cost. How much does it actually cost to make a slice of pizza? Well, okay, it's not very much. The ingredients are pretty cheap. But you have manual labor involved in that cost as well. And you have physical cost involved. You have electricity, and you add it up. Even rent really becomes a portion of it because it doesn't scale infinitely, because you need a physical location for it all. So that all adds up as a high per unit cost. And again, the problem with sites like Groupon is you're going to the site, printing out a coupon, and you're showing up with it. There's a big learning curve on how you deal with it, or you have to teach your staff how to do it. All the different sites use different methods for doing it, and it gets really confusing for everyone. And then another problem they have is the coupon redemption rate is low. People come up, they buy a Groupon, and they don't actually use it. So they'll pay their money, and they get dissatisfied because, I spent some money and never actually used this thing. And then, finally, the whole point about doing a Groupon promotion, or really any type of promotion, because we're giving away something for free, is you want to get something out of it. So bringing people into the pizza joint, what are you going to get out of this? Are people actually going to come back? And the problem with Groupon is that very often doesn't happen. So there's some actual stats on this. So only 37% of vendors said their Groupon was profitable. Sorry, not 37, 63. And 49% of people said they would never use Groupon again. I mean, it's a great way of getting your message out, but like 50% of the businesses that are using this as a promotional marketing tactic said they'd never do it again. And 82% of vendors are unsatisfied with the amount of repeat business from doing this. And by the way, I'm not bashing Groupon. I'm just using it because it's the biggest name and it's got a really catchy name. It's across the industry. Living Social, which is the second one, has exactly the same problems. And basically the entire business model has this problem. But yet, they've done very, very well marketing. Okay, so again, at the Daily Deal Summit, I heard this an awful lot, and there was a very good talk from a guy at Yipit, who they do daily deals aggregation, and they sell a lot of their stats to business. So they kind of mine the field of what's going on out there in promotions. So 10% and 17% of the two biggest daily deal companies their revenue has now come from e-commerce sales. And this gets to be really important for you guys, is this is only in a 4-month time period. They really realized around Christmas time, hey, wait a minute, we shouldn't, clearly they saw those numbers as well, and they know them better than you or I do. They saw these problems that the traditional model has, and they thought, we have to start selling digital goods, or not just digital goods, but shoes, tennis rackets, anything that can be done through e-commerce. And these sites all have very, very big goods sections now. And I've seen the graph for this from Yipit. The money they are making off of e-commerce has just gone way, way up, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. These numbers are old. I'm sure they've probably doubled by now. Okay, so what's the good news? Well, all of the daily deal sites are using email as their #1 way of reaching customers, and that's something that we can all do. Email is really easy, even given the fact that there's all this hype about every single buzzword you can throw at social media and you name it. When it comes down to it, they work by sending emails, and nothing comes. There's not even a close second. That's how they make their money. That's the business model. And all of these problems, if you haven't realized it already, you don't have any one of these problems, not even one. You don't have any physical costs, and your cost of unit production is extremely low. So we'll get on to, the real point of this talk is how to promote software. I'm going to just put all these up here, which is 6 steps. And this is kind of interesting, the way that this day's worked out, because Rob gave a really good talk this morning, which I was really happy to catch, on kind of a lot of the theory. Well, it was practical as well, but this kind of bookends the day, because I'm more into promotions, he's more on the product side, and I think our talks kind of dovetail really nicely together. A lot of, if you caught the first talk, a lot of what he was talking about there is going to come into play here. So the first point is figure out how low you can go. And that's, again, with Rob's talk, extremely low is the answer, but I'm going to talk through that a little bit more. Find out where your customers actually are. I'm going to talk a bit about that. And then, because I'm in the promotions business, give them something absolutely irresistible that will bring them in. And then stage 4 is, well, normally make the sale, but we want to do either get their contact info. So one of those two things. And then we're going to talk about retention and then how to keep on selling. So figure out how low you can go. I'm going to need a volunteer. So I need an ISV who has either one product or a couple of products all around the same price point. And I've shown this slide before, so hands up. All right. Do you want to come up? Sure.
We've worked with you before, right?
Have we? I don't recognize him at all. I'm really sorry. Hey, Bill, nice to meet you again.
We work with Roger.
Oh, yeah, Roger handles all that side of things. I'm just a pretty face. Do you want to give you a...
Hello, I'm Bill. And I've got a problem selling software.
Tell us about it, Bill. I feel like a game show. What's your product?
So we sell software that lets you download audio and video from the internet. We have 3 different lines, but the one we want to look at is Jacksta, J-A-K-S-T-A.
Okay, and how many people are in your business?
About 10 people.
10 people, okay. All right, we're going to have to fudge your numbers a little bit. All right, continue that. Okay. So, whoops, that was, oh, hold on. I gotta move the mouse to make this, oh man. Where's the mouse? There it is, okay. Is this gonna work? Okay, so what's your bill? What is your product price?
$39.95.
Can I say 40? 40. Oh man, it's not working. Oh no.
There you go.
And, okay, so the people that are involved in it, if you think of how many people are involved in just that piece of software?
10 hours a week.
10 hours a week on like development and like everything. Just that. It works better if you're like a one-man
For
show.
all of them, or just for Jackson?
But just for that one.
Everything in the Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Total hours per week on the business, including the developers, I'd say
70? I wonder if this is going to work. And how many hours a week supporting the product, say a low number?
8.
Good answer. Do you have any licensing costs in your software? So something that every time you have to pay, like, Adobe's license or no? Nothing. Good answer. What percentage of people who bought Jackson, is that right? I don't know if you have the number, but you should. But how many of those actually buy again, like later on, even if it's 10 years time? What percentage? 20%. This is going to be awesome. Okay, so we're going to calculate. All right, this is on a PowerPoint slide, so it's not definitive here, but you get the idea. And the math is almost right in the background. I didn't fudge it that much. So we're going to calculate the per unit cost. So how much it actually costs you. Like, consider the pizza. How much it costs to make your product.
Can I just clarify something though? Of that 20%, they're not spending $40. They might only be spending $9.
Okay, yeah, it assumes that they're spending $40. Do you want to make this number lower? No.
Okay. Sorry, I think you said no. Okay, no.
No, let's. 5? That's awful. Can we do 10?
Alright.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean,
upgrades and that sort of thing too.
Yeah, so 10% might spend $40, kind of on average,
Okay,
right?
yeah, all right,
That sounds about right, right?
Okay.
Cool. You have another slides. All right. Okay, so your per unit cost is awesome. I wish it was negative. I thought it was going to be
It's
negative.
57 cents.
Yes. That's how much it costs you to make your $40 product. 57 cents. You can discount it 99% and make money. I feel like it's such a cheeseball saying that. But it's, go ahead.
The one thing that doesn't take into account though is support, right?
Yeah, it does.
But how much
There's
is
support.
I thought that was being like developing.
No, but developing is all sunk costs. I'm talking about,
So their entire customer base takes 8 hours per week.
well, no, 8 hours out of 70.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah? So they're spending
Carry on.
70 hours like doing development and like being really smart, and then 8 hours on the phone and like replying to really annoying emails. Which is about, that's great.
Well, it might, when you spread it out over the whole product line, or it might be 12, but
12?
It's not much more.
it's not more than that. But actually, I'm really thinking of technical support, not customer support. So,
Well, but technical support is customer support, right?
Yeah.
well,
And it's dealing,
yes.
imagine it this way. If like 1 million people show up, what do you have to do to handle that 1 million people? You don't have to make any more software, it's already made. You have to just deal with all the emails. That's the hours I'm talking about there.
No, that's what we're
Okay.
talking about.
Yeah?
But that's not on a per product basis. Like if we sell 1,000 or a week or 10 a week, obviously those numbers are different, right?
No, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Well, all right, they're going to vary, but the 70 hour, or this, I'm really bad at math, the 58 hours of development work, you're going to do that anyway, no matter how much you sell. If you sell nothing, you're doing 58 hours. If you sell 1 million, you're going to do, well, no, you're going to go like a VC funding.
Right, but the hours per week is based upon volume of support.
The support hours.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's, all right, we can go with that. Yeah, okay, it's an approximation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thanks very much. Sorry for grilling you about that. Okay, so the point is that this number is really low, and it also, it doesn't account for, if you remember the first story, it doesn't account for cost per acquisition. We haven't gone into that, which is how you get that customer in the first place. So this doesn't account for any advertising dollars. This is just magically people buying from nowhere. So we're not accounting for that. But anyway, the point is software doesn't cost anything to create. There's no manufacturing cost. So, whoops, is this working? Okay. So how much to discount? So now you're thinking, okay, I know what was our end percentage?
93%.
93%. And now you're thinking, okay, if I discount my software 93%, am I actually going to make any money? What if maybe maybe there's a sweet spot. Maybe I should really, because I'm not going to sell like 1 million copies at 93%. Maybe I want to discount it like 63% and I'll sell 1,000, but you know, where's this graph going to go? It's basically my question to you, and I don't know what your thoughts are. Is it going to go up or down? I don't know. Well, that's what it does. This is based on our actual sales data, like from our promotions. The graph goes up. So, and this is just for us. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you going to provide these slides after the seminar?
Yes.
Online somewhere?
Yeah, I'll tweet them or something. Yeah. So yeah, this is, it's a little bit out of date, and I've given this, I put up this slide before, but our sales for our promotions, we have found that the more you discount, the more people buy. But not only that, this is total sales revenue, not just quantity over on the right. Obviously, quantity is going to go up the more you discount, but actual total sales revenue goes up, even though you're selling for less money. Is there a question in the back? No. There's two other lines on this graph, though. Something really weird, and honestly, I have absolutely no clue why, but it kind of depends on the price of the product. Your product was, Jackson, yeah. That fits into the green line, but something weird for us at least happens around 35%. If it's a cheaper product and you discount it a whole bunch, the line goes back down again. I don't really understand why. Maybe it's some psychology about people just aren't that interested. It's not enough for them to make the purchase. Maybe it's unique to our website. And I'm not a psychology major. I went to art school, so all I do is draw pretty lines. So take from that what you want. These are the numbers that we have. Okay, so we figured out that basically Nico is saying that you can give your software away at 93% and make money for it, which is great. But you have to find out where your customers are. And okay, obviously they're in a lot of places, but they're not just making a purchase on your website. Customers are hanging out on download sites. There's a lot of very, very high traffic download sites. There are forum sites, unique industry forums, like for security software. There's a really good forum called Wilder Security. They're obviously on Facebook and Twitter, and various community blogs and places like that. They're also increasingly on coupon sites and promotion sites like myself. They're also into, they're hanging out on a lot of aggregation sites. People are getting their news about promotions through sites like DoD Tracker. I'm going to run through a whole bunch of these. This is kind of an overview here. And this all applies differently in different countries. And I really only mainly know about the US market, but obviously it's all very language specific. A lot of what we did a redesign a couple of years ago and really concentrated on different customers. And I have a whole presentation basically on this, just one slide here. But looking at individual buyers and their different buying patterns. And you can go crazy and just spend your life like analyzing sales trends in Google Analytics on this. But these are 6 sections of people that purchase from us that we found really important when dealing with how to do some simple web design and redesign. A lot of our customers are impulse buyers, and they need things like a 5-inch buy button. And we found if it's 3 inches, they can't find it. They just they don't know where it is, they'll write me emails, I don't know how to buy it, and I'm like, maybe click the enormous green button, and okay, thanks. Oh no, they actually never write back, so that's fine. And that's all they do. They see something somewhere on the site, they come right in, and they just want to buy it, and they go straight through it. And that's for us. I mean, it's probably less for you guys, but as a promotional website, this is a whole bunch of our traffic. Then there are verifiers, people who want to who come into the website and they're like, I'm not sure about this, I have to check it out. I want to read and make sure that it's all right. So they kind of go down the page and they're going, mentally they're going, yeah, okay, I'll do that. All right, that's kind of what it says it should do. I'm going to do that. And these are people who might download the software. The first group, they don't even download the software, they just go and buy it. This is like people at the checkout. And then there's the people who really want to take their time and will do some research on it. So they're going to go down, they're going to read every single word on the page, they're going to follow every single link on the page, and they're really going to do their analysis on what's there. Fourth group, seekers. These are, we call them seekers. They're really people that have come in from search. So what they're doing is comparison shopping. They're either come through a product search or a Google search and have mentally at least created a checklist. They're comparing your DVD product to another DVD product, and they're checking out how it's going to work out. Then the two last groups are really great. Firstly, the fans, the guys that just love you, and then the devotees are really the people you want, and we have some crazy ones that will literally post comments every day. They'll do full reviews of all the software, and I talk to them on the phone. These are the guys you want to get on your side because they'll literally do anything. They're drinking the Kool-Aid over there. So you can approach them and say, hey, can you write an article? And can you just tell everyone how great they are? And they're like, yes. That's great. Thank you very much. And these are the people who you should be giving T-shirts to or free mugs. Okay, so I'm going to run through some of the promotional websites. If you don't know us, this is us. Great big green buy button and some software, basically. And we're by no means the first at doing this. In the Mac space, there's a great website called MU Promo, which is built off of it's a great little business model because it's built off of Mac Update. And that's kind of like a version tracker for Mac. Keeps track of what's current and what's fresh with, you probably already know it if you're a Mac guy. They run promotions off of that, so they have a huge base already built in before they started to do promotions. Maxot is more of it's very similar, but they're more niche and they're more of a blog format, but they've got a very, very strong following. And yeah, we'll post these slides and you're welcome to, these guys are welcome to promote with. They're all very nice. Software DoD, is Denise here? She's next door, okay. Actually, Denise won't be running it anymore. I don't know who's going to be running it. But this is a Digital River run deal of the day site. It's kind of associated with Simtel, and they just run Digital River products. So if you're using RegNow, Accelerate, SWReg, I forgot what else they bought. Not Avangate yet, right? Anyway, we'll see. No. Okay, but anyway, so no, it's a great little site. Mac App Deals, it's yet another one. I mean, it starts to get like a bit more of the same. And you think, okay, where will this end? But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. This was actually someone we featured on Vista, and he went off for whatever reason and made his own. I'm not just saying this to knock him, but he tried to start his own model data deal site based on the same model, and it didn't work, and he's closed it down. So it's not just everyone making a lot of money out here if you think you've changed your business model. It's actually quite hard. And he had a really cool way where you could make money by sharing it with friends, but he couldn't get it off the ground for whatever reason. I don't know why. This Sparcode is another one. I don't know too much about them, but they've got an increasing amount of traffic. Major Geeks uses a lot of the e-commerce companies are producing feeds of coupons and kind of templated store builders which as a download site, like Major Geeks is just a download site, well, not just a download site, but it's one of the bigger download sites, and they have a daily deals area which is powered by a Cleverbridge store, which pushes out, I think, this entire template. I don't think they have to do any work. So there's a couple others that look the same because it's using the same template. RegNow has a very similar thing where you can create your own RegNow store. I'm trying to think of the other ones. And a lot of them, if they don't have the whole store, you know, kind of click it and it gets published store, they'll have an RSS feed, or even the better ones will have an API of all of their products across their roster that have opted in with coupons that are right there. So this is just to give you an idea, and they're making a lot of sales. And I'm not saying, you know, start another one. I don't need even more competition, but these are places that you can promote and where people are hanging out and making actual sales. Mighty Deals is doing quite well. A similar business model again, but they concentrate more on, you see they have icons here, they do more creative products, not just apps. And then another site, I think the guy's Russian. He doesn't reply to my emails, I don't know why. But giveaway of the day, if you don't know about it, loads and loads of traffic, and the trick's in the name of exactly what they do. You can get a free piece of software every day. And obviously, you know, if you give out stuff for free, people tend to like it. So they've got crazy traffic. There's a whole bunch of, I said there's aggregators and blogs. Mac App Deals will pull in all the Mac App Deals and show them. So you've got every day, it will show up there as well. And I know we talked about, Rob talked about AppSumo at the beginning. They changed their business model. They used to be a Mac bundle site, and they changed to a lot of creative services and a lot of online services. So Daily Deals for Web Geeks is their moniker, and they'll do things like subscriptions to SaaS, and but very things aimed at entrepreneurs. So it's caught on very. A couple of people are nodding. I know the name's very familiar in the community. And they do some very, very clever things that I'm going to get onto later on. But they have their copiers as well, so this is basically exactly the same business model with startups.com, as far as I can figure it out. Bundle websites. There are a lot of bundle websites, and they show 5 or 6, sometimes even more, apps together. You can get in on these bundles if you contact the website and you can put in your product in with them. You're going to get a very small percentage, because the problem with bundles is, and I've read some psychology on the way that bundles work, you'll need a leading product. So if the product's a $50 product, the best product in the bundles, maybe a $50 product, if you sell the bundle for $100, you probably won't sell very much. The leading product really sets the price for the entire bundle, and everything else is just an add-on to make people make that final purchase. So unfortunately, you're not going to get very much money, because it has to be massively, massively discounted, because the psychology is, oh, I want to buy this one product, and I'm going to buy it now because it's got all this extra stuff in there which I might use. Not, I'm getting 12 applications for 95% off. People don't think that way, unfortunately. And by the way, when bundle sites aren't selling their bundles, they're doing this, which is an email box and getting emails. So the number of bundle websites is probably more than the number of raised pizzas in New York City. This guy is a 16-year-old guy out of the north of England who made $2 million in his first 2 years, and then started an ad agency afterwards. And I think it's mostly his fault, really, that there's so many. Because I'm sorry, that joke fell flat. So yeah, it gets to be a bit ridiculous. This all really happened about 2 years ago around Christmas time. The number of bundle sites exploded, and I don't have them all up here. MacIce was one of the better ones. Actually, it was really good. They gave a lot of money away to charity. I think it says on there about $1.5 million they gave away to charity. They had a huge team behind it of like 20 people, and they made it into a game. So it was a bundle hunt. You had to answer all these questions. You were divided up into teams. And the Mac community being different, you'll notice these are all mostly Mac bundles, not PC bundles. There are a couple of PC bundle sites, but Mac ethos being very different from it, kind of, for whatever reasons, really gravitates towards these type of sites. And Mac Update Promo, who we saw earlier on, they always do a Christmas bundle, and they're extremely, they do extremely well. They've done a lot of things with Twitter to promote their bundle. If you have a look at them around Christmas time, they do some really interesting promotions. There's PC bundles as well, and various creative bundles. Here's a WordPress bundle site as well. And it really is everything but the kitchen sink. It's a real slide. Okay, so we talked a bit about how low you can set your price. We talked a bit about where people are hanging out and gave you some ideas about companies you can approach if you want to do a promotion. So when you're doing a promotion, and this is only really something we really work with, we really realized until recently, is give them something irresistible. I mean, it's great to have a 50% off promotion, but what can you do that's really, really irresistible? So we looked at promotions in general. You know, even at conferences, there's always a swag bag, and this is from a promotional company. So if you think back over the last 2 years, they did a study of about 1,000 people and asked them, could they recall some swag that they've got in the last 2 years? And 94% could actually recall it. It's probably better than a pen, I imagine, which is great. So that's great brand recognition right there. And if you look at the purchases made after that promotion, and these are physical promotions of swag, where are the actual purchases coming after you've handed out this promotional item? And it does incredibly well when you stack it up against traditional media and online media as well. That's what they found in giving out free swag. So there's clearly something here. And then if you look at, and these guys have done a great job marketing. Their standard website has the daily deals on it, but a lot of what they do is some very, very heavily advertised sweepstakes. So you can see here, here's a MacBook Air, and I don't think you can read the small print underneath, but it says, win one for you and one for a friend. So what they're doing is, already they're trying to get you to think socially before you've even entered the sweepstake. And there's a couple actual dumb questions they ask you. And I know they A/B test like crazy, so they worked out that they're gonna get more people to enter the sweepstake if they ask them a couple of really stupid questions like, who's running this deal? Is Absuma running this deal, or the Queen of England? And they have that dumb question to get people involved and actually click the mouse because they're like, oh, that's fun and stupid. And it gets them to the next page. I mean, these guys really know how to tweak every cent out of every click. But what they're doing here with the one for you and one for a friend is getting you to think, oh, I want to share it. And then what they have, okay, now I've entered. This is the page after I've entered. Now I'm going to share it on Facebook and Twitter and post this code all over the internet. And also, I get 10 entries every time I do it. So they're getting you to extend the promotion out socially. And this stuff really isn't that hard to do. And we tried it for our website. It worked to some degree, but we found that it didn't quite work for our niche. So we tried some things. I don't want to make this too much of an ad for what we're doing. You're welcome to talk to me about it later on. But we're doing 100% off deals. So what we have is a kind of quote-unquote shopping cart. Here's the shopping cart. You'll notice you don't have to enter your credit card details. And there is really the important thing down here is the text, which you probably can't read because it's too small, and it's not crazy small. But it basically says we get to send you emails every day, and also the person who's, in this case, DVD Fab, also gets to send you emails every day. So for the ISV, it's a way for them to build a mailing list, and it's obviously a way for us to build a mailing list. And then after you've done it, then you get to download the registration code. So is this working? I mean, it sounds like a great idea, give stuff away for free. Of course people are going to show up. I mean, like, everyone's going to be like, yeah, okay, you get some. We've been doing it 3 months. We're going to get a whole bunch of emails, and we're going to double our traffic. And actually, the interesting thing about this is we're not doing it every day. We want to, but we've doubled it even when the promotions aren't running. So that means people are coming back. And the traffic spikes go way, way up. And it's a really nice number. But the real question is, okay, so a whole bunch of people turn up to get free stuff. Are you actually going to make any money off of these? Are these like a class of people that will never spend any money? Or are these regular people that will spend money? Or somewhere in between? And the answer we found is somewhere in between. We're quite happy to find out that. And we have a hard time. I spend a lot of time running reports and doing analytics, and I wanted to give you an exact percentage of how much we've made doing this. It's kind of hard to do, but I can kind of hand on heart say 20%, but I think it's a lot higher. So in short, I'm saying it's working. And then, okay, just in case like you didn't get the whole pizza thing, I told you my thought process. I mean, I am a marketer, so like I want ISVs to show up, right? Pizza is irresistible to anyone who's ever developed software. We know, right? What can I do to get more people to show up because I want to be able to present to them? Like, I'm also right. It doesn't actually cost that much. So yeah, free pizza. Okay, so step 4, I'm going to have to skip over a couple of things. I've spent too long talking about pizza. Make the sale or get their contact info. So when you're writing some promotional copy, I'm going to have to skip over a couple of things. So this is a great little write-up, but you have to make it very, very clear what you're selling, and hopefully a little bit of fun. I don't know if you can read this. This is one of my favorites that Roger did like early on, which is about demotivational posters. You all know those ones like, hey, hang in there, and like all pulling together, and it says teamwork across the bottom with like a bunch of rowers. Well, he wrote it up like, hey, how do you demotivate your employees, not motivate? So make it fun and like do one point. And don't say too much. I mean, that's about it. You don't need to go on and on. And if you want to make a purchase, we talked about this before, put an enormous buy button. It doesn't, I know we deal more in promotions than your regular website, but if you're doing a landing page for some AdWords traffic, you need a really big buy button. People don't know how to click an enormous button for some reason, we found. And the percentage, we found that the sales really key around the percentage, not the actual price. So that's why $19 isn't the most prominent thing. $61 is the most prominent thing in this case. And I was just reading, we're going to try some things with, you can make the numbers look smaller if you like, instead of this one here, which is what we have at the moment, if you do $19 and actually remove the point and remove the 00, there's a great blog called Neuromarketing. We'll talk about doing things like that, which I never thought of before, but I just bought his book off the Neuromarketing website. So you can do things to make your pricing smaller. And actually in restaurants, if you go to a swanky restaurant, they'll just have the numbers. And that's because their steak costs like $49. They just have 49 and not even a dollar sign. I don't know if that really translates to a non-menu situation. Obviously a deadline. You don't have a deadline when you're running promotion. There's no urgency involved. Ours ticks down. There's scripts you can get out there to do a ticker. You need a deadline. Otherwise, there's no urgency involved. And everything else on the entire page is secondary to this. Every single other link. We took our download link, and we found people having trouble with the word download, and we just very recently added download trial because people were confusing download with buy, which is something I'd never think of, but people have problems with it. That's why we have download trial. But everything else you have to think is completely secondary to that. When you're not, this is something that we do, which I don't know how well it translates. We have a lot of old promotions. What do you do about them? What we do is have an I want this button, and that will pop up an email form. So there are other places that you can, if you look at your search engine traffic coming in and get really creative, there are ways to capture email addresses, like the bundle sites between promotions put up an email box right on their homepage. You've got to be thinking, okay, I'm either going to make a sale here or I'm going to get the email address, one or the other.
Question?
Yep.
Would you recommend doing that in an email as well?
Well, text box isn't going to show up in an email. So
No,
it's
but
not
I
gonna
mean a
work.
button, having them click a button that takes them somewhere,
To take them somewhere to bring up yeah, that can totally
or
work.
even another offer.
If you're you can preview a promotion in an email, say, hey, we're going to have this coming up. And you can even sweeten the deal, say, if you get in here early, we're going to give you an extra whatever. And then that goes in the email, and you build a list before you have it. And then when the promotion goes live, then you email all those people, and then you go, well, come back in. That would work great. The fine print, basically this says that everything else is, again, secondary. The biggest question that we get on our site is, what are the license terms? And unfortunately, that question can always loses a customer. There can only ever be a bad answer to it. Because they've made a decision to buy it, and then they're like, okay, well, what are your license terms? Oh, it's only per computer, not per user. Oh, you have DRM. Oh, you don't charge for upgrades. So you don't want to shout your license terms, but you have to have it. And then build trust, because all of this, what we've done by giving something away that's irresistible and bringing them into the website is really to build trust. You've shown up and I gave you pizza, therefore you trust me. There's a psychologically that's what happened. I mean, I haven't brainwashed you or anything, but what you've done is by bringing someone in and giving them, and actually delivering on a promise, they are likely to trust you. And another great way that they can actually trust you, and I don't know if Oliver's here. Yeah, so you're up on the screen, Oliver. In this, we have a conversation back and forth between the customers and the software vendors, and we can chime in there as well. So, and Oliver did a good job of, we normally just have the box shot, but use your face every time you talk to a customer. And I don't see this anywhere nearly as much as we should on ISV websites, is be yourself and you don't have to, put a picture of you with your cats, but be there and be visible, and people will trust you because they realize, okay, you're a real human being, and there's some, good stuff you can do. Oops, let me go back one. Being completely responsive. Occasionally there's going to be problem people, but if you can handle a problem and a problem person publicly, then that person actually goes on to make a sale, and it can be really interesting. You can turn around big problems that way. A little bit more about hooks. After you've got their email address and made the sale, you can send out, the whole point about getting the email address is to send out emails to keep them coming back and to hook them back in. Obviously, upsells, cross-sells, and the point of an email is to get them to click the email. That's the only point of sending an email, is to get them to click the email, as far as I'm concerned anyway, to bring them into a website, and then there are other tactics once they're there. But that's important to remember when you're crafting an email. And if you want to bring people back to your website, why are they coming back to see the same product again? Yes, to get a nice discount on something that's great, but if you can create community content, and Smith Micro do this a lot with they do a lot of graphic software, but they have areas for people to upload content and talk to other graphic designers. And obviously, if you can be the first with news, then there's a reason for bringing people back in, and this is obviously specific to your business. Other ways to keep on selling is to do cross-sells of other promotions. This is from Mac Update. Other deals that are there. If you have other products, you should be featuring them. And I know it's getting a little towards 4 o'clock, and people are probably itching to get out. But to extend a promotion, we found that, and this happened by accident, like most ideas, we extended a promotion which normally runs 24 hours, and we gave it an extra 24 hours. And we're like, oh, wait, we should be doing that all the time, because we found we get an extra 60% the second day, really for doing nothing. If we had it for the whole 2 days, we wouldn't have got that extra 60%, because people would spread their purchases out over the 2 days. But by creating one deadline and then moving it, we create 2 points of sale. So you make 2 decisions. Talk a little bit about Facebook promotions, which is a whole presentation in itself. This one's really good. If you're trying to make a Facebook landing page, have a look at what Laughing Bird Software did, and he has like 25,000, or that number's a little lower, I think. He's done like everything right that you can do right. He's got a picture of himself. He does a whole bunch of posts on just fun stuff that's kind of related to his business. And he used, let me click through here. You'll see, now Facebook changed the way that with Timeline, they changed the way they do Facebook pages. So you used to be able to land them straight on what's called a fan gate page. So I'm sure you've seen these where it says click like to do whatever, and you click like, and then you come into the page. Now Facebook has changed that so that by default you end up on the timeline, probably because these pages were getting massively overinflated likes really for no reason. But he's got a call to action for free software here, and that takes you for, if you see kind of underneath the main promo. That brings you in here, and he's saying now click like to get free software. And you can do this really easily. There's an app called ShortStack, which will let you create this, and it'll take you like 5-10 minutes. You don't need any HTML. If you want to do it yourself, it's called static FBML, and you can go crazy and write the whole code yourself. But if you want to do it and pay, I think they start at like $10 a month. It's really easy. Basically, you click like, and there's your free software, and you just link to your download. He's put in a video in there. You can put in whatever you want. And he's also saying, hey, share this as well. So you've got a like very easily for giving away your software for free. You can do even better though. In this page, and this is something we're planning to do, you can then prompt for an email address, right? And you can keep people going and bring them into the relationship a bit more. He kind of ends it here. He's just getting a like, but you can take them through more of a process, and you build that trust by promising something for free, delivered on something for free, and now they kind of have got the idea that you're a nice guy and you can do more with it. Your ads can go directly to this page. If you do an ad based on that, we costed it out. It works out about $1 per like if you use a fan gate page like this. Twitter promotions, I'm going to skip over this, but you can basically do the same type of thing. You have to, I don't know, there are probably services that do it. You have to use a bit of coding, or at least when I did it, I had to use a bit of coding, which is the OAuth API, but you can do that as well. Okay, so when you're spreading the word, there's a whole bunch of ways that you can do it and get the information out there. But the important thing to remember is that this is all very ephemeral. The way that people's mindset works on the internet used to be that, oh, I'll do a link exchange, I'll get some links, I'll do a post, and that will bring me a whole bunch of traffic. Well, it might bring you a whole bunch of traffic, but it'll be gone in like 5 hours at most. And because the rate of churn is so fast, especially on Twitter, which you can just post all day long because they're gone so fast, they're off the main screen. But even news sites are so much faster than they used to be, that you're better off working out a mechanism to get a lot of volume up there rather than trying to do a link exchange, which it just really won't get you anything anymore, at least in my experience. And a lot of these aggregators for deal sites work on that, big churn. And that's why we see huge spikes, but they don't last. They don't tail down. They're gone in a few hours. So to wrap up, I don't do predictions, but the only trends that I'm seeing is that, thinking way back to the first couple slides, people are getting really, really comfortable with deals. It's like 45% get an email from a daily deal site. And I heard, sorry, not 45%, but I heard that in San Diego, Living Social sends 45% of the population an email every day in San Diego. And that's just massive brand penetration in not very much time at all. It's ridiculous. So people are very, very used to promotions, and they kind of expect it now. It's like, what, I can't get a deal on this? And especially with a product that you can discount so much, you should be giving discounts. It's the way that people want to buy, and they're expecting it more and more. And there's a whole bunch of services out there that are growing up. That, I mean, it's still in its infancy, but there now is a daily deal summit, and there are a lot of adjunct businesses to that, which will try and add on to it, like services that will monitor your deal tweets and kind of you name it. So the industry is evolving and growing up, but it's coming very fast. We talked about e-commerce products. Companies like Groupon have also tried hyper-local things. You say, okay, I want a pizza in South Reno right now, give me a deal. It sounds like a great business model. Unfortunately, they haven't been actually able to make any money off of that one either. So people are trying to do hyper-local things. I know that doesn't really apply to software, or maybe it does, I don't know. Again, a whole bunch of social media sharing services. Right. There are also different ad networks that have grown up that will support this as well. There's a company called After Download that will put ads in after you download something. And there are a whole bunch of product installers that will put ads in installers, and they'll do promotions as well. So it's evolving. There are pay-per-click ad networks that will really take this to heart and run your promotions for you. So again, just to wrap up those 6 points, I'll pop them up on the screen. Whoops, I went too far. Okay, so how low can you go? You can go crazy low. You really can go crazy low. And figure out, once you figure out really your unit manufacturing cost, where are your customers, how are you going to reach them? Once you found out where they are, or if you want to use a service, you've made that deal with that service, give them something absolutely irresistible to get them in the door. It's going to be a quick bang of a whole bunch of people, but once you make that sale, if you can make that sale or get their contact info, keep on bringing them back in, send a lot of emails. I know that's kind of the number one thing that I didn't do back when I used to be an ISV, which I don't really do anymore, but I never sent emails, and it was a huge mistake, and I know people kind of think, oh, I'm going to get to it, but you got to send emails. And just keep on selling. So that's my contact info. Roger's right here. We're around all weekend. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions on all this or anything else? Any questions on how to run promotions, emails? Go out.
Well, I was wondering on your free deal where you give away software for free. What if have you tried, do you give the current version away, or what about giving away like one version prior to the current version?
Yeah, we've tried, so the question is giving away pre-soft, the 100% off deals. What about giving away the old version? We kind of messed up. We've only been doing this 3 months, so we're kind of feeling our way. We messed up a couple times by selling 100% off a piece of software that wasn't actually for sale somewhere on the internet. So it was a slimmed down version, and we got a whole bunch of hate speech of like, well, this is a made up product, this is just advertising rubbish, and it's like crippleware. So our rule now is it has to be for sale somewhere on the internet for us to run a promotion, which sounds reasonable. I mean, it makes sense.
What if it was for sale? I'm not talking the crippled version, I mean just the version, the old version 10 is the version 11.
Right.
Real product.
I don't know, what do you think, Roger?
I think if version 10 is still available on the website, they'll probably have that. But if it's, if you're still selling the old version, but if not, the customers are going to, at least in our experience, they're going to go nuts and be very pissed. But if you have like a standard as opposed to a pro version, we love doing that, because then you can even, upsell right on the website, sell the pro version.
Yes.
Would you comment on, I'm going to assume that a lot of people in this room sell only one product.
Right.
Would you just spend a moment and talk about that?
Oh, okay. So how do you promote, if you're just selling one product, how do you promote it? Well, yeah, it gets really tough because your only repeat business can really come from selling new versions of it. So that's your only point. A lot of people have done this, is split your product in half and have a pro version and a basic version, which Roger was just mentioning. But yeah, that's really the only way you can do it, is to sell as you increase the version number. If you can't do things like add-ins, I mean, maybe the other way of doing it is to make a deal with someone who has a complementary piece of software. But yeah, you're limited. You really are.
And what do you think about giving the free giveaways being products that are not software, that are in a totally different industry? I hire some marketing guys, and they said their attitude was, you don't want to give away your products unless, of course, you have a significant number of products to sell. So, for example, you mentioned the Aces tickets or baseball.
Yeah, that's
caps.
not me, by the way.
But what do you think? Do you have any experience giving away anything other than products?
Right. Okay. So the question is basically, I don't want to give away my software because I'm giving it away. I mean, yeah, you are. That's it. It doesn't. You can't make that sale again because it's gone.
Exactly.
Should I give away something else? And all right. Well, we do something very, very narrow in what we do, but I'd say try it. I mean, that's the only way to get to our one answer, which is 100% off deals, which work for us. We tried a whole bunch of things, and they really fell flat. We did a whole bunch of different types of things. We thought that Facebook was the answer, and we were doing all these different promotions through it. And we realized, no, we actually have to bring it back into our website. And we tried sweepstakes, and it didn't work. So give it a go, but it has to relate in some way. I mean, you can't. I mean, I thought pizza and software developers was pretty close.
Got us in this room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got to relate. I mean, I know you're horse racing software, so I don't know. A jockey hat, I don't know. Anyway.
Thank you.
This is the question. I guess just a quick response, I think, to that question in terms of a single product. I think the only thing I've seen work is basically if you take essentially your email list, essentially contacts, and you end up marketing that to another company. Basically, dealing with dead product lines and whatnot, the things that we're never going to use, that's about the only thing I've seen work is basically, we have a customer base, somebody else can use it, so we're going to sell it on one address at a time, or just outright.
Yeah.
I don't happen to be a one-product
Right.
guy, but I was curious about that.
Yeah, personally, I wouldn't sell my email list, but I could definitely do a deal with someone who had an email list and email each other. But yeah, no, it's a great idea. Question
So
back?
I can add on to that. From CNET.com, we've done things like that before. So to answer your question, we've done deals where you bundle like a coupon or like a gift card with the software, and that doesn't really work very well. We've never seen it like users don't jump on it just because you get a gift card or like $50 even. It doesn't really work very well. And then to answer the question about selling previous versions, we've done that in the past as well at like 93% off or 98% off. It was something ridiculous. They bought it for $3 of a product that was $60, $70 worth. They sold a lot, like tens of thousands, I think, within the 24-hour period. But they soon released their latest versions, and then they had all these people downloading the latest versions and trying to activate the license key they bought for the previous versions. So they had a slew of customer support stuff that they had to deal with. So I think that if you plan on doing that, then you need to make sure that you're providing the right version, so you're going to have to deal with all the customers.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. That's really good information. I didn't know you did the free giveaways. We found that as well, kind of at the end of a product cycle. If you do a promotion right at the end, just for, say, a 50% off promotion, then you get a lot of angry customers because they're like, hey, wait a minute, next week version 2012's out. Are you kidding me? and then you get the conspiracy theorists.
With that said, if that's a good excuse or a good reason to go for the 100% off promotion, because if you're giving the software away, if it's the end of an upgrade cycle, the customer still cannot really complain, and they don't. We found they don't complain. You know, if you release, you know, if you're version 11, give it away a month later, release version 12, they're still happy with their, you know, this thing they got.
What about 5% instead of 100% simply because you've now got a customer that's given you his credit card? I mean, which that's a big step.
Yeah, but just by putting that credit card form
It
up
cuts
there,
down your-
it's like an order of magnitude less, even
Yeah.
if it's like 1 cent, because they're like,
Yes.
I have to enter my credit card information. So that's the block, not the money, the actual form filling. I don't want you guys to have to sit in here all afternoon, so this is one more. And are we good? Okay, thanks very much.